What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. I just got done watching the iRacing Pro Invitational Series race at Richmond, the Toyota Owners 150 from the Richmond International Speedway. Let's just talk about last week before we get in this week. Last week's race was not a very good race, 2 weeks ago, I should say. The race was not very good, so we already knew going into this race that it was a lot of negative reception going into this race, especially what's happened when Bubba lost his sponsors and what happened with Kyle Larson. Now, today, we had the iRacing Pro Invitational race at Richmond, and I have to say that this race was really, really good. I enjoyed this race. Was a really, really good race. A lot of great battles, beating and banging around the racetrack, and we only had 6 cautions in this race. And a lot of it wasn't even completely from, wrecking. There was, retaliation and tempers that happened in this race. And then you had a driver lose his steering wheel and disconnected. So, let's just jump into the review. So, to start off, the first caution came out for Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher's steering wheel disconnected. We went green for about 40 laps. And unfortunately, he brought out the first caution. And Kevin Harvick, unfortunately, ran into him. He would get damaged at the end of that run. Then we had the second caution would come out. There was a couple cautions, springs from a couple wrecks. Ryan Blaney was involved in one of those. I can't remember what happened to the other crash, but there was 2 wrecks there. And then we get to about the retaliation of this race with about 30-40 laps to go. So there was a little bit of contact because Ryan Preece, who dominated the early portions of this race, his tires were going away. Well, Matt DiBenedetto unintentionally gets into Ryan Preece and takes him out. I believe the caution would come out because of this. Later in the race, Ryan Preece decides to go and retaliate to Matt DiBenedetto. No caution for that. Then Ryan Preece pulls a 2012 Phoenix Jeff Gordon move, and he decides to retaliate and take out Ryan Preece. This would unfortunately kill Ryan Preece's day, and this would also unfortunately end Matt DiBenedetto's chance to winning the race. Right before that as well, Clint Bowyer, who got involved in the first crash, he would blow up. He would end up finishing last in this race. Matt DiBenedetto would unfortunately be out of the race. So then we went rack racing with 40 laps to go, and William Byron and a bunch of guys, I think 4 drivers stayed out. It was William Byron, Christopher Bell, Eric Jones, I can't remember the other guy who stayed out, but 4 drivers stayed out, and William Byron was able to charge away because Sammy Hill and Parker Kligerman, who were the 2 best other competitors in this race, they had to charge up to the front. They could not get around Eric Jones easily. It took them until about 16 to 15 to go. And then it looks like William Byron is easily going to win this race. And then with 3 or 4 laps to go, the big one strikes. Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Christopher Bell, and multiple other drivers end up getting involved in this wreck. This would bring out the caution with 4 laps to go. And we would set up for a really fantastic final overtime finish between William Byron and Timmy Hill. William Byron was able to hold off a hard-charging Timmy Hill to score his 2nd win in a row and the 2nd win of the iRacing Pro Invitational Series. So congrats to William Byron there. And I just have to say, I am really, really excited for William Byron winning this race. Not just because I'm a huge supporter of Willie B. I would definitely support Timmy Hill over William Byron normally, but because of implications. Because this race, one of the only reasons I watched the event, because a YouTuber in this community, Rusty Walls, his paint scheme actually ended up winning the race. I'll put the paints, well, I don't know if I'm going to put it up for the screen for you guys. Actually, I'll probably put it up there for you guys, but Rusty Walrus' paint scheme, which won the contest a couple days ago, it was featured and William Byron drove in this race. And because William Byron won this race, Rusty also gets one. So also, congratulations, Rusty. Congratulations, man. Huge win for you, my good sir. Also, William Byron, congratulations as well. But I gotta say, Rusty, huge congratulations, dude. I was rooting for that car today. And congratulations. I hope that car ends up being a diecast in the near future. So, anyway, that is from the race. Let's just get into the results of the race. So, William Byron won the race, dominated after Ryan Preece's tire swap. He was able to win the race. Timmy Hill, strong 2nd place. He's been the most consistent in this series. He's had 4 straight top 3 finishes. Timmy Hill has been the most consistent and would be your points leader if this was a thing. Parker Kligerman, great 3rd place run. Not surprising there. Landon Castle 4th. And Kyle Busch with a 5th place finish. Kyle Busch has been getting better and better every race. And I think Kyle Busch strongly could win one of these iRacing Pro Invitational Series events. Good job for Kyle Busch. Sixth place goes to Denny Hamlin. A great rebound week for Denny Hamlin. Strong run for Denny Hamlin with the sixth place finish after kind of the last 2 weeks not going as well for Hamlin. Sixth place, that's a great run for Denny Hamlin. Seventh place, Eric Jones. He came out of nowhere to kind of finish seventh, to be honest with you. Like, he wasn't up front, and he did that strategy, and he ends up getting a seventh place finish. Solid run for Eric Jones. Eighth place goes to Junior. Great run there. Bubba Wallace with a ninth place finish. Really strong run for Bubba Wallace. And 10th place is Brad Keselowski. I'll kind of talk about Brad a little bit because Brad had a really, really, really strong race going at this point. He was in the top 3, top 4. He looked like he could have a car that could challenge Willie B for the win in this race. But unfortunately, on a pit stop with about 30, 40 laps to go, he had a little contact with Dale Jr., got some damage. He was able, though, to rebound to a 10th place finish. Not a bad run for Brad there. Chase Elliott comes home 11th, Tyler Reddick 12th, 13th Ross Chastain, Bobby Labonte 14th, Ty Dillon 15th, John Nemechek 16th, 17th Garrett Smithley. We'll talk a little about Garrett Smithley because Garrett Smithley actually had some contact with, can't remember, who was it? I don't remember who he had contact with, but he ended up spinning out, Daniel Suarez, excuse me. Those guys had some contact. Those guys are having a top 10 run, strong runs for the race. And unfortunately, Garrett Smithley's chance kind of went up in smoke, and Garrett Smithley finishes 17th. Daniel Suarez finishes 18th. Ryan Preece, after dominating the early portion of the race, after all the battle between him and Matt DiBenedetto, he comes home with a 19th place finish, and Kurt Busch finishes 20th. Chris Buescher finishes 21st, 22nd Alex Bowman, 23rd Ryan Blaney, 24th Christopher Bell, 25th Joey Logano, 26th Jimmy Johnson, who ended up not finishing the race, Matt DiBenedetto 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, 29th Kevin Harvick, and Clint Bowyer finishes last in 30th place. Now I'm going to talk about the race a little more, the iRacing Permutation Series race from Richmond a little more, and talk about what I thought about this race. Like I said at the beginning, this race was straight up a really, really, really good race. I think that the iRacing, the drivers in this event, put on a really, really good show and a rebound event race, especially after Richmond. I've got to say that this race is a thumbs up for me. I'm going to give this race, honestly, a 9 out of 10. I think that the race rebounds itself. Great racing overall. Very entertaining. I did not stop really watching this race at all. I kind of had to take away 1 second after the Bristol race. Kind of had to go get some food for myself because I was just like so frustrated with the race last week. This race, great racing straight from the gun. I think this honestly was the overall best race that the iRacing Pro Invitational Series race has put on. I think Texas is second at this point, but what a great rebound race. You go from the worst race of this series up to this point to the best race of this series. Actually, I'm going to give this race a 9.5 out of 10. Almost a perfect race. Had we not had that little string of cautions, 2 or 3 wrecks, this race would have been straight perfect. A few cautions in this race, a guy who definitely deserves a win, because William Byron has arguably been the best driver of the series. He's been killing it. And Timmy Hill has been there most consistent, but I just think William Byron, he's been really strong in iRacing. We knew he was going to be good in this series. It's not surprising the top 4 finishers. Those guys are really good on iRacing. Kyle Busch coming to 5th place finish, like I said earlier. That was really, really fun to see. And I hope that when we go to Talladega, because that's the next race I believe we're going to, if I'm not mistaken. I think Talladega will be a wreck fest for sure. But it's Talladega, so it's kind of acceptable compared to the other races. So yeah, I know this review is kind of short, but I had to get it out for you guys. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications so you notify when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on all my social medias. Links in the description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What did you think of today's race? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.